Okay, so you are a billionaire. You hate your relatives, you distrust your business partners, and you want to leave your entire $12 million estate to the only creature that never lied to you, your Maltese Terrier. You sign the papers. You die in peace, but there is a problem. A dog cannot legally own money. Under the law, a dog is property and property cannot own property. Therefore, to make your dog a millionaire, you have to build a legal mechanism that essentially turns your pet into a corporate hostage. You are not protecting your dog. You are creating a highly lucrative, unregulated financial ecosystem for a cartel of lawyers and caretakers. By the time we finish calculating the actual numbers, you will see why making your dog the richest animal on Earth practically guarantees it will receive death threats, require armed bodyguards, and become the center of a brutal legal war. So, how do you actually transfer $12 million to a terrier? It starts with the price list of estate planning. The budget option is a standard will. You leave your dog and a $20,000 check to your cousin on the explicit condition they take care of the animal. But a will is a one-time transaction. The moment the check clears, there is zero accountability. Your cousin could drop the dog at a shelter the next morning, keep the cash, and buy a Honda Civic. Because you are a billionaire, you cannot accept that risk. Which means you need the premium option, a pet trust. Setting up a custom, multi-million-dollar pet trust will cost you between $20,000 and $50,000 in upfront legal fees. This document creates a brand new legal entity where the dog is the sole beneficiary. But a dog cannot write checks, hire contractors, or go to the grocery store. Because of this, you have to hire a cast of human characters to run the dog's life. First, you need a caretaker. This is the person who actually lives with the dog, feeds it, and takes it to the vet. Second, you need a trustee. This is a corporate lawyer or a bank that holds the $12 million checkbook, manages the investments, and approves the caretaker's expenses. Third, you need an enforcer. Another lawyer whose only job is to audit the trustee and the caretaker to ensure they are not stealing the dog's money. You have just hired 3 strangers to manage one animal. What could possibly go wrong? The problem starts when you realize the true business model of a pet trust. For the caretaker, the trustee, and the enforcer, this dog is no longer a pet. It is a cash-flowing asset. The caretaker draws a heavy annual salary. The trustee charges a percentage management fee on the $12 million portfolio. The enforcer bills by the hour, and all 3 of them lose their income the exact second your dog dies. This creates a terrifying financial incentive. They need the dog to live forever. There is a famous rumor in estate law circles that when a millionaire dog dies, caretakers will secretly buy a lookalike on the black market to keep the trust open. If the dog never officially dies, the salaries never stop. You might think your dog will live a glamorous life, like Gunther VI. For decades, the global media reported that a German countess named Carlotta Liebenstein left an $80 million fortune to her German shepherd, Gunther III, which then passed down to his descendants. The dog supposedly owned Madonna's $31 million Miami mansion. The dog was made president of an Italian soccer club. The dog had a pop group and a fleet of yachts. But the reality of Gunther was a complete illusion. The countess never existed. Maurizio Meon, an Italian pharmaceutical heir, completely fabricated the story in 1992 as an elaborate tax dodge. He used the dog as a furry holding company to move money around Europe and generate media hype. Gunther was not a rich dog. Gunther was a prop. And if you leave $12 million to your terrier, your dog will become a prop too. But instead of buying mansions, your dog will buy enemies. Meet Leona Helmsley, a New York real estate billionaire famously known as the Queen of Mean. When she died in 2007, she completely cut 2 of her grandchildren out of her will. Instead, she left $12 million to her 8-year-old Maltese named Trouble. Helmsley thought she was guaranteeing Trouble a life of absolute safety. She actually did the exact opposite. When the public and the family found out a dog inherited $12 million while relatives got nothing, the backlash was explosive. Trouble became the most hated dog in America. Between 20 and 30 serious threats of kidnapping and murder were mailed directly to the dog. This created a massive logistical nightmare. Trouble could no longer just walk in a park. The caretaker, Carl Luckich, had to fly the dog out of New York on a private jet to a highly secure retirement facility in Florida. Because of the kidnapping risk, the estate was forced to hire a full-time armed bodyguard to stand next to an 8-pound dog. Meanwhile, Helmsley's furious relatives sued the estate. They claimed she was not mentally competent when she wrote the will. A brutal court battle erupted. The dog, who just wanted to sleep on a couch, was now the primary defendant in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Let's actually calculate what happened to that $12 million. After months of litigation, a New York judge stepped in and ruled that $12 million was legally excessive for a dog. The judge stripped $10 million away from the trust and redirected it to a charity. The lawyers on both sides billed massive fees for fighting this war. That left Trouble with a $2 million trust fund. Out of that remaining money, the operating costs were staggering. The full-time bodyguard cost $100,000 a year. The caretaker's salary was $60,000 a year. Grooming cost $8,000 a year. Chef prepared food was another $200. Add the ongoing administrative fees for the trustee and the enforcer, and the dog was burning through cash at an astonishing rate. Trouble died 4 years later at the age of 12. She was blind and sick. Helmsley had explicitly requested in her will that the dog be buried next to her in the family mausoleum. The cemetery refused, citing strict health codes against burying animals with humans. Trouble was quietly cremated and the remaining trust funds were dissolved. If you set up a multi-million-dollar trust for your dog, you are not transferring wealth to an animal. You are creating a highly taxable, heavily litigated corporate entity. The money does not buy your dog happiness. It buys private jets to escape death threats. It buys bodyguards to prevent kidnappings. It buys the salaries of the people who are legally obligated to keep the dog breathing for their own financial benefit. You wanted to protect your best friend from human greed. Instead, you built a $12 million machine that guarantees they will be surrounded by it.